Okay.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, October 25th, excuse me, 2017, 9 o'clock. We're here for our weekly Board of Commissioners meeting. We're in the Senator Hearing Room, 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. We start our meetings with a Pledge of Allegiance, so please join.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We start our meeting with public comment. First, we have one person signed up, Ken Hetzel. I see you're coming up. When you're ready, go ahead.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Ken Hetzel. I live at 745 Harris Street Southeast in Salem, Oregon, in Marion County. And last week I chose not to talk. And after Carrie Moeller, the head of the health department, talked about the disparity of the developmentally delayed benefits and the other health department benefits, how I think the quote heard they were sucking the most out of the system and hurting the rest of the system. That my wife was a special ed teacher, and she says that the squeaky wheel gets the most grease. So the parents of the developmentally delayed people cried the loudest, and they got the most benefit. And I believe the benefit is like $26,000 a year for personal care, that they can have peer navigators or personal care people take care of them, for a lot of money. And it costs the system a lot of money, where, you have to be diagnosed before you're 21 years old to qualify for that bracket. I, as a self-professed consumer of mental health services, got sick at 45 and got treatment at 45, so I don't qualify for those benefits, and it hurts everybody else in the health department system. So I appreciated Carrie saying that last week, and I'm sorry I didn't get to talk, but I bring it up now. So this week, she's bringing a revision to the health advisory bylaws. I agree with them. I wish they had posted the changes. A lot of changes I've seen will redline and underline and mark the changes. This is being deleted and this is not, and this is being added and this is not. In this particular one, I believe all that was available online was the new bylaw is going to be presented and approved today to y'all. And I refer to the last paragraph 14, the last line says, appropriate to ensure board public participation. Well, for a while I was a editor, review and check the thing. So board public participation, B-O-A-R-D, not B-O-R-E-D, but actually it should be broad, B-R-O-A-D, I think, right? So that's a grammatical error. I'm just pointing that out as an OCDC, obsessive compulsive, that it's not bored as in the board. It's not bored as in being absent-minded and drifting away. It's broad as in everybody to participate. Thanks. Y'all have a good day.
Thanks, Ken. That's a good catch.
Yeah, but I don't know what it means. I didn't see it.
Well, Mr. Chair, I'm looking at it as he was talking about it. I'm looking at it, and I read the last paragraph because he had made a comment prior to the meeting, and so I wanted to open it up and look at it. And Ken, I did look at it. I didn't catch that.
assume, because it's talking about, that whole paragraph is talking, and we could talk about, why don't we talk about it under the action item when we get there? That'd be the appropriate
Correct.
place to talk about it. Ken,
All
thanks
right,
for
thank
pointing
you.
it out this morning.
So, next item is our consent calendar. Since you're only candidate to present that, would you mind?
Yeah, I'm important today, Mr. Chair.
Number 2.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'll move our consent calendar. First, under business services, approve the following recommendations: adopt and establish one classification, quality improvement facilitator. Uphold pay grade for classification number 070, peer support specialist, and adjust pay grades upward for 2 classifications, number 064, human resource manager, and number 507, epidemiologist 1. Excuse me. Under finance, approve a quick claim deed to convey real property tax ID number R68176 located at 245 22nd Street, Southeast Salem. Under Public Works, approve an order extending the existing Comcast cable franchise agreement through April 30th, 2018. Also under Public Works, receive notice of Marion County's Planning Commission's decision granting conceptual approval of subdivision subcase number 17-003, Bistrica, clerk's file number 5734. And the Sheriff's Department, approve an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon State Hospital for $986,689.79 to provide GEI client, on-call, and emergency transport services.
I'll second the motion for approval. Any further discussion? No. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's approved. We have several action items this morning, no public hearings. The first is under health, consider approval of an order appointing Ruby Martinez Sanchez to the local alcohol and drug planning committee with a term ending December 31st, 2019. Lisa Miller and Ray Wilson. So welcome this morning, and Ruby, we're anxious to meet you, so please go ahead.
I guess I'm introducing myself, so, Good morning, Mr. Chair,
Morning.
Commissioners. For the record, Lisa Miller, Volunteer Services Coordinator with Business Services. I'm here this morning with Ray Wilson, the Chair of LADPC, Local Alcohol, Drug, and Planning Committee. I just forget to say it out. And with a recommendation for a appointment of a new member, Ruby Sanchez Martinez.
Thanks, Lisa. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Chair, and Commissioner Cameron. Oh, speaking to the microphone, all righty. My name is Ray Wilson, for the record. I am the Chair for the Marion County Alcohol and Drug Planning Commission. Our purpose here today is to recommend Ruby Martinez Sanchez as a member of our committee. I think if you look at her application, you'll find her very, very qualified for a member of the committee. One of the exciting things for Ruby is that her desire to help us to improve our recommendations for our diverse community within Marion County, and we find that a big plus. Just as a matter of, the LADPC is in the process of upgrading the recommendations and of the overall health of the A&D community within Marion County. When that's completed, we'll have a report for you guys, so more in the future, just a little teaser for you. So that's enough out of me for now, and I'll turn it over to Ruby.
Thank you for the introduction, and like Ray said, I'm interested in helping our diverse communities in Marion County, educating myself, and overall just giving back. Thank you.
So Ruby, some of this is just to get to know you better. I can read things into it, things you've been involved in, and I don't necessarily have to say it, but just maybe a little more about yourself, where you grew up, and what's important to you.
Okay. Well, I grew up in the Salem-Keizer area. Went to Highland Elementary, Weddell Elementary, Claggett Creek Middle School, McNary High School, North Salem High School, and graduated from Willamette University last year.
Wonderful.
So
That's my
And
background.
you majored in what?
I majored in biology,
Biology.
and I currently work at the Boys and Girls Club as their middle school program manager, so I am the lead for all STEM programs.
Well, thank you.
And Mr. Chair, thank you. I know I started out as a biology major and couldn't get through organic chemistry with more than a C, so I think I gave that up.
I
So
think she's laughing at you.
I know she is. You're in good company. He laughs at me all the time. What's the biology degree? What were you thinking with biology, and do you have plans to use that in the future in a career?
My initial plan was to go into nursing, and it's still, a career that maybe I'll tackle in the future. Working with the Boys and Girls Club for almost 5 years now, I've really started to enjoy education. So I will probably get my master's in education before I get, my nursing degree.
That's great. One of the things that we need is nurses that are educators, because it's not I've done some listen to the issue. We need more nurses, obviously, but trying to find nurses who are willing and able and can take sometimes a pay cut to go in and be educators. So maybe that'll be a future item for you too. We're really honored to have you join this board. So thank you.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I think it's really great that she has the aspirations of being a nurse. As you know, my daughter's a nurse, and she spends a lot of time in the community doing educational work. I think it's really it's an important thing for you to do. I hope you continue in your efforts. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Great. Ready?
If you would.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'll move that we approve an order appointing Ruby Martinez Sanchez to the local alcohol and drug planning committee with a term ending December 31st, 2019.
And I'll second the motion. Any further discussion? Just this. If I don't say it again, thank you and
Yeah.
welcome. So, I'll call a question. All in favor, say aye.
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 And Ray, thank you for your service too. Appreciate it.
Unless someone is here to speak for Kerry Muller on our next issue, is there? We'll hold off and move down the agenda a bit. So let's go to Public Works. We consider approval of the vacation of an unnamed portion of County Road 765, extending south from Anna Lane northeast and lying west of Victor Point Road. Bill Jones is here to explain this and see what happened.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name is Phil Jones. I'm with Marion County Public Works, and I'm here to present to you for your consideration the proposal to vacate a portion of an unnamed portion of County Road 765, extending south from Anna Lane northeast and which lies west of Victor Point Road. Public Works received a petition requesting to vacate County Road 765, a remnant segment from the original alignment of Victor Point Road that no longer is being used by the public. The petition states that this is a dead-end, undeveloped right-of-way that serves no practical purpose. All of the abutting property owners signed this petition. In 1931, Victor Point Road was realigned and the old right-of-way was vacated, except for the portions now known as Anna Lane and this right-of-way. And here is a map that shows the location of Anna Lane and the portion of the unnamed road that was left over after the realignment occurred back in 1931. These portions remained to give access to a farm building which no longer exists. The right-of-way proposed for vacation is now being used as a side yard for farming activities by the adjoining property owners. If the vacation of this right-of-way is granted, The property would be vested to the property owners to the east and west of the right-of-way as outlined in ORS 368.366 by extending the property owner's boundaries to the center of the vacated property. The road proposed for vacation is a 60-foot wide right-of-way, 143 feet in length, with no evidence of past road construction existing. And in this photo here, this is taken at the north end of what is now the right-of-way at Anna Lane, looking south, and you can see that it's, in this case, it is, the right-of-way is presently covered with grass. So this is at the north end, and this is the photo that was taken that's at the south end, looking back towards Anna Lane. A search of the surveyor's office reveals no record of any previous vacation or abandonment of this right-of-way. There are no utilities that would need to be protected by easements if the right-of-way is vacated. Upon review of this right-of-way, the planning, land development and permits, and traffic engineering sections have no objections to this vacation if approved. The area is zoned EFU, and current use conforms to the zoning. There is no fiscal impact created by this proposed road vacation, and there are no impacts to county departments or external entities. Public Works recommends the Board of Commissioners grant the vacation of an unnamed portion of County Road 765, which is lying southerly of Anna Lane, and vest the right-of-way to the abutting property owners. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Phil, thanks for being here and presenting this. And I don't believe we've met before, so it's great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You mentioned in your presentation to protect utility easements. Can you go into a little bit more detail on that process? And because I noticed in one of the slides that I was looking at, there is a telephone pole or an electrical pole off to the right, but it looks like it may be outside this particular piece.
Yes, in this case, we checked to see if there are any utilities that are located within the right-of-way that is proposed for vacation. And in this case, there are none.
Okay.
All utilities do happen to lie within the right-of-way of Anna Lane. I'll go back to the
I see
the
it.
map again.
It's right in front of that shed there.
Yes.
On this photo. So, okay, it's out on the main.
Yes, and it would be within the right-of-way of Anna Lane there. So the vacation of this portion would have no effect upon any utilities, as they would be protected by the Anna Lane right-of-way.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all the question I had.
Phil, if I could, I was just curious about kind of procedure. How would people, you say there were no objections, is a public hearing held, or how do objections or concerns get into the record?
In this case, since there was, this right-of-way is encompassed by two property owners, two properties, and both of those owners of those two properties signed the petition to request the vacation of this right-of-way. And as well, they actually went around and contacted property owners a little farther out from this right-of-way, and actually within the petition itself, and they actually got those adjacent property owners to sign the petition as well, stating that they would be in favor of the vacation of this. So therefore, as per the statute, it was, since we have 100% of the property owners adjoining this property, this is allowed to be able to be vacated without having to go through a public hearing.
And in this case, it seems pretty straightforward. I'm kind of thinking about others to make sure that.
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah. Gloria's nodding yes.
Go ahead. Oh, what?
Oh, that's absolutely correct in terms of the process. If there wasn't 100% of the property owners in agreement, then we would have noticed a public hearing. This process under state statute, when you do have 100% agreement, allows local governments to save the cost of a public hearing when everyone is in favor of
All
it.
right, this isn't the case here, but I just want to know, so in this situation that, say, I like to ride my bike through there, how would I get that concern stated?
Well, the vacation is noticed on our agenda, and individuals do have the opportunity to come, and they would have been able to make public comment still, much as Mr.
Right.
Hetzel did this morning on the bylaws issue.
All right, just curious how it all works. So with that, I don't have any more questions.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, you'd have to stop in about 160 feet because that's where the right-of-way ends.
That's about how
You probably
far I
get
wanna
stuck
ride
in
a
the
bike,
mud
okay?
in this time of year. So, Mr. Chair, I will move that we approve the vacation of an unnamed portion, we'll call it Sam's Bike Lane, unnamed portion of a County Road 765 extending from Anna Lane Northeast lying west of Victor Point Road.
I'll second the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So the matter's approved. Thank you, Phil.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chair,
Yes.
I want to see you ride your bike anywhere.
Okay, John. First, I have to have a bike, okay? Number 2, let's go to number 4. Consider approval of Amendment 7 to the contract for services with Pacific Sanitation Incorporated to increase rates for waste-to-energy facility at Coffin Butte and Woodburn Disposal and extend the term through September 20th, 2019. Brian May, boy, you're ready to go. Please do.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Brian May with Public Works Environmental Services Division Manager. So before we have a amendment to our agreement with Pacific Sanitation for our ash haul. So a little history for you is Pacific Sanitation began this ash haul, as a franchise hauler in the area for the waste energy at its inception of operation in 1986. Approximately 38,000 tons of ash are generated annually. The majority of those tons, 34,000, are actually delivered to Coffin Butte landfill located in Benton County where it's used as alternate daily cover. The remainder of that ash, approximately 4,000 tons, goes to our North Marion monofill where it's actually disposed. This is a current operation. The reason for the 4,000 tons that would go to our monofill is based on kind of hiccups within the operation of Covanta in part of their metal recovery system. We've been trying to avoid having that heavy metal ridden ash to go to Coffin Butte and ADC. It causes some issues for them for their compliance. So we moved that to the monofill. In April of 2014, Amendment number 6 was executed that extended the term to September 30th of 2017 and then allowed for extension of that agreement also. There's been no increase to this agreement since 2014. So Amendment number 7 does 2 things for us. One, it extends the term to September 20th of 2019, which coincides with our contract with Covanta, which basically makes Marion County responsible for the disposal of the ash. Second, the amendment is to address the rate increase request from Pacific Sanitation of 12%. With that, we entered into a cost of service analysis with Pacific Sanitation. So what we've done is we've reviewed their 2016 financial statements. We've evaluated their projections for 2017, 18, and 19. Currently, their 2016 results showed a margin of our operating income of 3.1%. In addition to that cost of service analysis, we want to make sure we took into consideration some changes that we are making within solid waste in Marion County. And one of those things was we're kind of redirecting some of that ash. As we've talked in the past, leachate is a large expense for us in Environmental Services Division. So this last 3 months, we've directed ash to the monofill for a regrading opportunity to make sure that we're shedding stormwater and not actually getting that into our leachate collection system. That cost is about 23.5 cents per gallon, and one of the largest expenses in environmental services, almost $750,000 budgeted for 17-18. So we really need to take care of that. So we wanted to adjust that for Pacific Sanitation as shortening their haul or lengthening their haul. So with those adjustments, we had them come back with their projections for 17, 18, and 19. Without a rate increase, their 2017 projections resulted in a 2.4% operating income. 2018 was actually a negative return of 0.7%, and 2019 had a further loss of 3.2%. With the requested 12% increase, the numbers changed to 2017 at 5.2%, 2018 at 8.5%, and 2019 at 6.3%. The big loss that we see in the projections going forward in 2018 and 19 are a result of a one-time adjustment to their medical insurance premiums of a 9.5% increase. That was the biggest driver in the request for the rate increase. So at this time, the detail shows that the actual cost goes from $6.35 per ton to $7.10 per ton for the hash hauled to the monofill. The ash hauled to Coffin Butte will increase from $10.85 a ton to $12.15 per ton. This is an estimated impact of a little over $44,700 annually to the environmental services budget. At this time, after the review, the cost of service analysis, staff recommends that we move forward with the rate increase for Pacific Sanitation. Any questions?
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, thank you. And Brian, thank you for coming Monday and giving us the detail on this and waiting a week to get this approved so that we can understand it better. A question that I have, 34,000 tons going to Coffin Butte. How many tons are in a truckload approximately going down there?
Approximately 25.
So 25, I was just trying to think how many, is that one a day that they're taking?
It's
I
between
didn't do the
five and 6 a day, Monday through Friday.
5 and 6 truckloads going down there?
Yes.
Okay. And Coffin Butte is using, this is off the subject of the increase, but just for those people that may be watching, I know we've worked, you said we hauled some up north for our leachate program and readjusting, but Coffin Butte is using those 5 or 6 truckloads a day to do their daily cover with?
That's correct.
And that's enough for them, or could they take even more? Do you know?
At this point, they could possibly handle a little more. There's DEQ requirements that only allow them to take up to 15% of their total tons inbound as alternate daily cover. And right now, my understanding is they are short of that 15%, so they could use other materials to fill that. Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for your work on this, and I know that expenses are going up everywhere, so Mr. Chair, you want me to make a motion? Mr. Chair, I'll move that we approve amendment number 7 to the contract for services with Pacific Sanitation, Inc. to increase the rates for waste-to-energy facility at Coffin Butte and Woodburn Disposable, to increase the rates that should be the rates for hauling ash to waste-to-energy facility, from waste-to-energy facilities at Coffin Butte and Woodburn Disposable, and extend through September 20th, 2019.
All right, I'll second the motion. Discussion? You've already commented. The one that I'd add is that this showed up on our consent calendar here a couple of weeks ago, but just without adequate background. And I want to thank you for coming and explaining it. I don't have any problem. It isn't justified, just that there wasn't information to make a decision earlier the way. I think you looked at it too.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. And I love the information you put on here, the written report.
I'll call a question then. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Again, thank you, Brian.
Thank you very much.
Now, I'm being told,
Before we go, do you
yeah,
want me
let's
to make a motion?
make a motion to take it off the agenda.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You want me to take it off, or just a motion that will move it towards
To next week would be
next
fine
week,
either
it's
way.
specific. Okay, Mr. Chair, I'll move under under action item number 2, that we move it to next week's board session.
All right, I'll second it. The motion is to move the item having to do with approval of revised health advisory board bylaws to next week. Further discussion? I'll just say this, the 2 people most interested in it aren't available, Commissioner Carlson and Carrie Muller at a conference. And I think it'd be appropriate. I don't have any problem with it. We've talked about it, but I think they'd like to explain what they're trying to do to the public a bit better.
Well, also, Mr. Chair, it'll give us a chance to change board to broad.
Yes, I was going to thank you, and we can make the change that we've been noted. Certainly have time to do that. So anything else? Hearing that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So we'll do that next week. Now I'll open contract review board. we're going to consider approval of a special procurement to contract with Liberty House Center for Hope and Safety to provide victims assistance services through June 30th, 2019. Commander Jeff Wood and Justin Ford, good morning, and go ahead when you're ready.
Good morning, Commissioners and members of the board. My name is Justin Ford, and I'm the Contracts Compliance Analyst for the Finance Department.
For the record, Commissioners, good morning. Jeff Wood, Community Corrections Commander, Marion County Sheriff's Office.
The Marion County Sheriff's Office is requesting a procurement process exemption to enter into contracts for victim service providers, specifically Liberty House and Center for Hope and Safety. The passage of House Bill 3194, 2013, invests in community public safety by controlling growth of Oregon's prison population and diverting drug and property offenders to community-based programs. Public Safety Coordinating Councils now apply for state's justice reinvestment grants that reward success through evidence-based corrections programs every biennium. The Marion County Sheriff's Office contracted with Liberty House and Center for Hope and Safety utilizing an exemption requested granted under Board Order 15-89. These contracts were paid with justice reinvestment grants during the 2015-2017 biennium. This class special procurement notice was posted on ORPN on October 16, 2017, and no protests or comments have been received.
Commissioners, just to give some color and context of background, Justin said it very well. House Bill 3194, or otherwise known as Justice Reinvestment, invested monies into local communities with kind of a four-tiered approach, four goals, I should say, in terms of reducing recidivism, reducing our prison population, enhancing public safety, and enhancing offender accountability. Within those last two bullet points that I just mentioned, in the 15-17 biennium, there was a specific requirement, a 10% set aside specifically for victim services programs to either enhance or continue services within the local communities. In response to that, under the leadership of Commissioner Carlson and the Public Safety Coordinating Council, there were local service providers, victim services provider, came together, provided a, for lack of a better term, a flow chart of victim services and highlighted some of the needs of those services. Those entities that came together were members of the Salem Police Department, the Sheriff's Office, the District Attorney's Office, Liberty House, and Center for Hope and Safety. Some of the gaps that those entities identified were the need for bilingual advocacy, services for children and family, and being able to enhance child abuse investigations to meet some statutory requirements whenever abuse or neglect investigations are initiated. Through, I would say, a very collaborative and rigorous process, we came, and because of the specific requirement of the Justice Reinvestment Initiative, this had to be a private nonprofit entity that we went into contract with. Because the first three entities that I mentioned were government, they were not eligible. As a result, Center for Hope and Safety and Liberty House were the two entities that shared 15-17 Justice Reinvestment dollars. And if you recall, 2 years ago, I sat before you asking for a special procurement for those contracts. In case you don't know, and I'm sure that you do, but Liberty House provides assessment, counseling, and support for children and families facing concerns of abuse, neglect, trauma, or grief. And the Center for Hope and Safety provides advocacy for families, children, and youth who've been affected by domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, and human trafficking. And again, once we received the special procurement after the approval of our Justice Reinvestment Plan for the 15-17 biennium, those services were enhanced that I described with Center for Hope and Safety and Liberty House. And as I sort of tallied some of the numbers, they are impressive. I will say Center for Hope and Safety, just through their intake coordinator alone, which receives funding from Justice Reinvestment, they made contact with over 3,500 people. That includes support, advocacy, food, clothing, and some shelter if necessary. As a subset of that, the Children's Advocate provided services to 60 kids and 20 parents, and a bilingual advocate provided over 266 individual contacts for people where English is not the primary language and there might be some barriers in navigating the criminal justice system as a victim of crime. Liberty House, over the last year, had made over 164 contacts and made a variety of triage of assessments, services, and therapy for kids and families within our local community. These services are vital, they're necessary, they're filling a gap that was previously identified in the 15-17 biennium. I certainly want to say this was a collaborative process in identifying those service needs. The other piece, too, is we're not trying to singularly focus resources towards two entities. As I mentioned, justice reinvestment has some very specific requirements. We have to produce outcomes. While we are trying to be very collaborative in our model, and we and continue to be open for new programs that may come to our attention, we're very fortunate to have both these programs, but nonetheless, there aren't a lot of programs that can provide these specific set of services that I believe are necessary in the community, hence why we're here to ask for the special procurement. With that, I believe we're both available for questions.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks for presenting, and I think we're both well aware of this and the good work that it's done. Last year, Commander, I believe we invested even more than the 10% we were required for these services. Did you mention that, and I just didn't hear that?
No.
And are we doing that again this year?
That's a good question, Commissioner. No, I did not mention that. The 10%, we did exceed the 10% for victim services within the last biennium. That included the bilingual advocate that I had mentioned previously. As we're all aware, with the 17-19 biennium, costs go up and candidly the needs went up as well. We are continuing with those services, but the excess, I'll call, the additional victim services are now being contained within that 10% allocation in our current plan that was approved. I think the total amount for victim services with the Marion County allocation is about $375,000, and that is the 10%, but it unfortunately couldn't continue the in addition to.
Okay. And if I may, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
And then the other, just so I understand, I know we've applied for a secondary grant for, we talked about this, I believe, on Monday. Do we have to take 10% of that as well and set aside for, on the secondary grant from the 3194 money?
Commissioner, another good question. No, I guess
Okay.
in essence, we could put, we had a minimum requirement the county needed to continue with our 416 prison diversion program. So we submitted that initial amount and then added on 10% to our original ask. And so it's not this is what Marion County needs and 10% of that need must go to victims. It was our original need plus 10%, a little bit different this in the supplemental application.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. I really don't have any questions. I just find interesting why we're doing special procurement. There's one section on collaboration that seems that it's met this. They ask that it does not diminish competition, reasonably expected to result in cost or time savings for the county, or promotes a public interest in a manner not practically realized by complying with the county's normal public contracting rules. So I think this fits all that and quite satisfied. So with that,
Mr. Chair, I'll move that we approve the special procurement to contract with Liberty House and Center for Hope and Safety to provide victims assistance services through June 30th, 2019.
I'll second the motion. Any further discussion?
It's good
I
stuff.
hear none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Close the contract review board and return to our normal meeting, which is essentially finished, other than to read the places we'll be together in the coming week. Tomorrow morning, October 26th at 7:30, we have a city, schools, and county quarterly breakfast open to the public. We never see anybody there, but they can come. Oregon Garden Trillium Room, 895 West Main Street in Salem. A big event for Commissioner Carlson and the county. Friday, 7 to 9, a 2017 reentry breakfast, Broadway Commons, 1300 Broadway Street in Salem. Monday, 8:30 to 9, calendar review at Silverton Conference Room, 5th floor, 555 Court Street Northeast. And then Monday at 10 o'clock, a Mid-Willamette Jobs Council meeting in the Insight Boardroom, 626 High Street Northeast, Suite 305, Salem. And Tuesday, 2 interesting work sessions. The first is solar arrays on farmland, Silverton Conference Room, 5th floor, 555 Court Street Northeast in Salem. And that's followed at noon to 3, a long one, work session having to do with solid waste planning, Silverton Conference Room, 5th floor, 555 Court Street Northeast, Salem. Next Wednesday at 9 o'clock is our next regular board session here in the Senator Hearing Room. That's followed with a lunch, again, another area lunch open to the public at Woodburn, Marion County, meeting at Luisa's Taqueria, 523 Front Street in Woodburn. And then we come back to Salem for a Capital Community Television taping, CCTV Studio 2, 575 Trade Street in Salem. So, anything you want to add for the record or non-record before we close this morning?
Wow, it was a busy week last week. I think we talked about that management update. Busy week for me, basically, and had a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, I don't know.
Not too much? I just have one kind of personal thing. My daughter and her friend say that they watch these board meetings. I kind of find it hard to believe. So this is kind of a test to see if they really are, and I'd like them to be somewhat conversant on vacating roadways. Let's just see, shall we?
You know, it's interesting as you say that, because as we were doing this vacation thing, I'm thinking, I haven't had one in a long time, vacating a road.
Is that all you can think of?
Well, you know, it's been one of those times in my life, so.
All right, anything else in this morning? Sounds like we're short of material,
meeting,
so
Mr.
let's
Chair.
just call this meeting adjourned.
Thank you.